Curse of Strahd, session 16. Oh, I've just been dealt the biggest curveball in the history of my Dungeon Master career. So, and it has to do with real life reasons too, so it makes it even more complicated. Basically, we are 16 sessions into this Curse of Strahd campaign, and one of the players of the campaign, Louisa the Barbarian, has to leave the campaign for real life reasons. She's getting a doctorate in education, so props to her, and she is moving out of state. And it's just this is not something I've talked with the player, and it's not something they're going to keep on doing through distance and stuff. This is a filmed game. I filmed the gameplay of this on my Patreon, so it would be weird and clunky of how to incorporate that in a call, and then how it. That's weird, and then also the logistics of the in-person versus the what'd you say? So we're not going to go down that road. So we are going to say goodbye to Louisa the Barbarian, and there was a plan in place. Me and this player have been working together, and to foreshadow this and have it make sense in the story and have it elevate the story instead of take away from it, and it was really exciting. And then the players decided to change their plans. As players do, and normally you shift and change as Dungeon Masters, that's fine. Never you're going to complain about that. That is the natural course of the game. I am running a module, but it's a very much sandbox module of Curse of Strahd. They can go anywhere, do anything. But it gets a little bit more important whenever there's a player that's going to leave for real life reasons, and that has to force my hand. So how I normally start this off in this entire series is that I say what I thought was going to happen, and then what actually happened, and in this case I'm going to really focus on this big huge curveball, because that's what pretty much the whole thing was based around. So if you're interested in this, want to learn more about it, I do have other series and sessions on this all the way up, and I give the Dungeon Master breakdown behind the scenes on everything. And if you want to get the actual gameplay, you can check out my Patreon. All patrons get access to every single game that I upload and we film and play. So here we go. This is what I thought was going to happen. This is my Dungeon Master binder, and this is the quest log of things that they got to keep track of. They had two big events that happened this session. They had a meeting with the Burgomaster and a meeting with Lady Vakter, the two opposing factions in Curse of Strahd. We'll talk about that in a second. So actually, just let's get that out of the way right now. How I ran this off is I opened both of these, and I have a little talking point list for each person. The dinner tryout. So there's a bunch of stuff to talk about on both sides of the coin. Now, the group, one of the brothers of the two, the rogue bard brothers, one of them was going to go talk to the Lady Vakter, and because he doesn't want to be seen around the Burgomaster, because the Burgomaster doesn't even know he exists. It's crazy that the mayor of the town doesn't know that one of the 5 party members exists, and they think the 5th party member is Irina. It was brilliant. There was this whole thing where I said there's 5 party members. I drew a picture of 5 people, whatever, and the Burgomaster's like, now I see here that there's 5 members of this party. Where is the 5th member? And like, oh, that's Irina. And I was like, oh my god, wow. So the Burgomaster thinks it's 5 party members with one of them being Irina, when really it is Felix the Rogue. So he keeps eluding me and as truly a rogue. So anyway, the cleric, the paladin, and the barbarian went to go to the Burgomaster meeting, and the rogue and bard brothers went to go to the Vakter meeting. And how I ran this as a Dungeon Master is I went back and forth. I had spent about 5 or so minutes and then went to the other group. 5 or so minutes, went back to the other group. And the conversation went back and forth, and I just shifted back and forth at the story beat that made the most sense, and then go to the next one. And it kept everybody engaged, and it was kind of interesting, and they didn't tune people out if it wasn't their part. And then instead of running the entire scene and then the entire scene, I just went back and forth. A little tip there. Went great. Couldn't have gone any better as far as from my perspective how I wanted to run it. And then here comes the curveball. So what I thought was going to happen, and I planned this out specifically so, is Strahd said, because again, I've known this player is going to be leaving for months now. So Strahd said the players got the bones of St. Andrew's back to the church. They accomplished this big, huge thing, which is really bad for Strahd. He does not like that, does not want that. But he's impressed. He's impressed with the group, and he wants to call them over to have dinner at his castle. He's invited them casually 2 other times, but then he sends a message to them, speaks into their minds, and says this is not an invitation anymore, and they have to come to his house within a couple of days. And how it was phrased is you have to come. You need to come to my castle within 5 days. And then he doesn't say, or someone will die. He says, the least favorite of one of you must die. So that's interesting. They've interpreted it as I'm trying to get them to interpret it, that means that if they don't do it, then this person dies, right? The person in question is Louisa, the barbarian. So Strahd is going to kill her. That's the whole plan. But based on talking with the player and based on how the things were going, there's 5 days left. They had 4 days before getting horses and traveling to Strahd's house in 1 day. You can make it from the village of Vallaki to Strahd's castle on horseback. You can make it there, right? So that was the plan. And I thought they were going to have 4 days worth of stuff to do and then leave, right? So they're like, okay, cool. They wrapped up some stuff. They found a house. They did some investigation. They were doing a bunch of stuff. And then I thought they had mentioned that they were going to go to the town, the Vistani camp, just on the outskirts of the city. The Vistani camp on the outskirts. They said that they were going to go check it out. And I was like, perfect. There's an item there. There's a relic, one of the 3 relics, the Sun Sword of one of the 3 huge relics in Curse of Strahd. One of them is there. That's great. Oh man, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah. And they're gonna go there. And then the end of that first night, I gave them a vision from Madame Ava herself, talking about the Vistani. It was this ominous little vision about the Vistani, and oh my gosh. And they're like, you know what? Yeah. Okay, we should. And that was the plan until this session. And so they said, you know what? I feel like we just got to go knock out this Strahd meet. We just got to go there now. We got to knock it out. You know, they don't want this looming over us, and there's all these time schedules. You know what? We just got to knock it out. And I was like, oh, man, okay. Oh, wow. So the little bit of backfire there that I might have had some dealings with and take responsibility for is Strahd wants them there in 5 days. In their meetings with the burgomaster wants them to be do an appearance for the town in a performance in 5 days. And I purposely had those schedules overlap, right? Not for any logistical purposes, but I just wanted to put some pressure on them of like having to, okay, what do we do, you know? And I think that pressure caused them to go to Strahd's castle early. And if I had just said, oh, it's, you know, in some time, we're going to celebrate you guys, no worry about it, we'll figure some time out that works. I don't know if I would. Maybe I screwed it up, you know. Maybe I screwed it up by adding in extra pressure, and then they went to the castle right away. I was like, oh man, okay. So there we go. So now they leave instead of doing stuff and then leaving and arriving on this day and having these 3 days. They left for Strahd's now. They left for Strahd's castle right now. So in that final day we did a quick little downtime role play of a day of like, what do you want to accomplish in the city, gathering armors and equipment and all this other kind of stuff. Louisa the barbarian, the one who's leaving, went to the forest to have a little reach out to Habakkuk again, her druid nature deity in some way that she's been kind of like loyal to. She's a zealot barbarian, right? So she went to reach out to her, and instead of having a conversation with Habakkuk, like this, like, you know, divination type of conversation normally goes, Habakkuk's like, run, you are the target, he's after you, run. And it was this like ominous warning, right? And then she's like, well, that's weird. So, and they are still going into there. So at this point now, my hands are kind of tied as a dungeon master. That player's leaving, and they are now, there's 4 sessions before the player leaves. And then, there's 3 sessions before the player leaves. Session 16, this one, is the 3rd one. And there's 2 more after this. So now they are on their way during this session to Strahd's castle. And I'm like, okay, they are for sure going to get to Strahd's castle by this session. They're for sure going to have the altercation with Strahd. So instead of what I thought was going to happen, I thought this was going to be, they wrap up, and then they're, all right, cool, let's go. On the way to Strahd's castle, Louisa leaves, and she disappears into the forest. Her nature god kind of calls her into the forest, and she gets saved by her nature god, and she's still alive. They get to Strahd's castle, and Strahd's like, that is Louisa, and like wondering where she is, and like, oh, he's been duped again. He would respect it and welcome them into the castle, and there we go, right? And that was my plan. Well, they're going to see there, and they're going to be there, and she's not going to slip away now. So this is the story that's being told. So now they're going to see Strahd, and there's no scenario that Strahd doesn't kill Louisa. There's just not. He could kill all of them. They're at level 5 right now. He could kill all of them right now, no problem. They would stand no chance. They have no relics. They have nothing, right? They would stand no chance. He would TPK them all immediately. There is no reasonable conclusion that I can come to where Strahd, who wants to kill Louisa, based on lots of things that I've laid out, would not kill Louisa. It would be some weird pull. Strahd would be weaker, in my opinion. He would get down a peg. It'd be this weird meta reason that he didn't kill her. And I hate that. And I'm not going to compromise my villain, the BBEG. I'm not going to compromise Strahd for some sort of meta reasons and weird stuff, right? So now, the new plan is she is targeted. They went to the base of the castle. They're at the base of the castle. They're at that little spot where the carriage will take them up, and they get ambushed by werewolves. That's going to be their first sign that Strahd is targeting Louisa, because all of the werewolves are going to be targeting Louisa, and she's going to almost die in some way. There's going to be a big sort of fight there. I don't know how it's going to go. I already have set and balanced the encounter. I don't think she'll die. I mean, if things go really south and whatever, I don't think that that's going to happen, though. I think they'll be fine. These are just, when I say just werewolves, it's going to be the first interaction with werewolves, but there's not a ton of them, and this is more so to set the tone of Louisa being the target even further. And then they're going to get to the castle, they're going to arrive in the castle, and I have now no idea how the timing of this all works out. They're not going to see Strahd, and my new plan now, and the adjustments from what's going to go on now, I have reached out one-on-one to the player. We'll talk about that in a second. But now, they're going to arrive to the castle, enter the castle. Who knows what they're going to do, and they go and explore and see and do, and they're just going to be in the castle, right? And then at the fourth session, the final session, right? So right now, we just finished session 16, right? At the beginning of session 17, there's going to be a fight with the wolves, and they're going to for sure get to castle within the first half of the session. And then after that's done, they're going to be exploring the castle for the last half of session 17. Session 18, Louisa's final session, they are going to still be in the castle exploring for whatever reason, in whatever spot. I have no idea. But halfway through this final session, Strahd is going to appear. Wherever they're at, it's going to be kind of interesting for me. I don't know where it's going to be at. So he's just going to appear and fight them and kill Louisa. And there's not going to be anything they can do about it because he's who he is, right? And it's going to be a big fight, blaze of glory type situation. They're going to get to fight Strahd. I think this is another big win for the campaign purpose. And Louisa is going to go out with a bang fighting Strahd von Zarovich, right? And the party's going to be able to see him fight in combat and see his power. They're going to be able to see truly him fighting in combat, which is a rare, unique moment, right? That Strahd's going to be able to kill a PC in the middle of a campaign, if not the first half of a campaign. They're level 5, right? So I think it's a really cool moment. I think it's going to, and I talked with the player, and if they're okay with this, if they're okay with being targeted like this to be killed, and then and as soon as he kills her, he's going to stop, sit back, and then drop his guard entirely and be like, there we go. Now, what do you do here? And at that point, I'm going to be interested in if one of two things happen. They will either talk to him, and he will completely drop his guard and be like, well, now you learned your lesson, and this is going to be, and this is what I expect from you. If they keep wanting to fight him, I'm going to let them kill him, which is a weird, crazy thing. And I think this is a power move by Strahd. He doesn't care if they kill him. They don't know where his coffin is. They don't know about his resurrection mechanics. They don't know anything. And he is not threatened by them whatsoever. Now, if they were in his castle, level 8, they had some things and they knew where he was and they could go stop him, okay, then yes, he would be concerned, but he's not concerned right now. He'd be fine. He would do this and just laugh as they stab, and then vampire fall, and then he would resurrect and be totally fine. So I want them to almost get this looming, like he just killed one of us and we can't get away from him. I think it's going to be a great way to elevate the campaign in this way. And then for the player, the spirit of Habakkuk, this druid deity in some way, the spirit that was guiding and following the zealot barbarian this green leafy energy is going to flow off of her and out into the wilderness, and is going to find Sasha's the player's name. Sasha's alternate character. Sasha's second character. Because at the beginning of Curse of Strahd, I had them all make 2 characters. Sasha's second character was a druid. This druid is going to get this divine nature magic from Habakkuk that's been blessing this barbarian, is going to leave and go to the next most worthy next most worthy target, and that's going to be this druid, her other character. Now, she's going to leave, and she's not going to play, and I'm not going to be doing one-on-one full-blown sessions. It's just going to be little dice rolls that me and the player make on the side and casually and super chill conversations in text and messages and whatever, and see if they can help and guide and intervene in some way, almost like Hunger Games care packages in some way. Nature, animals come give them something in some cool ways that this player can still be connected to her friends that she played the game with, and may have a little bit of an impact on the game in some way. And who knows, if she's able to come back in town and she make a guest appearance as her druid character that got the torch passed from her barbarian. I think that'd be a super cool way to end the whole thing, and I am really looking forward to how this whole thing goes, and I'm really looking forward to flexing Strahd. And stay tuned to the main channel, because I'm going to post a video on my version of Strahd, my homebrewed level of Strahd, and see how that all goes, because that's going to be fun. So stay tuned for that. This is episode 16, and we got till episode 18 to say goodbye to Louisa, and we'll see how this whole thing goes. So wish me luck. Wish them luck. Who needs more luck? I don't know. Peace.